Will it be a jittery summer break for Christopher Luxon, the Prime Minister, off the back of these unemployment numbers that we're expecting today, projected to hit a 9-year high at 5.3%, up from 5.1%? Here with his crystal ball this morning is the Herald's business editor-at-large, Dann. Liam, good morning.
G'day, Ryan.
So what are we expecting exactly, are we expecting to see today?
Well, the top line number that gets all the attention, the headlines, expecting to see that rise from 5.1 probably to 5.3, which is in the ballpark of where the economists have thought it's going for a long time, but it's flattered a little bit by things below the hood, under the hood. So the economists will be looking at things like the participation rate. So that's the number of people who tell Stats NZ that they're still in the labour market looking for a job, because a higher than usual number of people are dropping out. And, you know, good if they're going to study, younger people going to do further training and that sort of thing. But some people are giving up. You know, if you're older, you might just decide to cut back and live on your partner's income or something like that. So you fall out of the labour market stats, and that can flatter it. So things like, also people who aren't getting enough work, so they don't count as unemployed.
They're underemployed.
They're underemployed. So if you're working a few hours a week and you need more, you're underemployed. So we'll be looking at that as well to get a sort of a complete picture of what's happening in the labour market. None of it is expected, as you said earlier, to be great, unfortunately.
Yeah. And what about all the people who've buggered off to Australia?
Yeah.
Do they have? Does the fact that they're not here actually make this look rosier still?
Yeah, that's flattering it as well. So that's they're not sort of being counted at all, but I've talked to some economists who have suggested we'd be up near 6% unemployment if we didn't have those record numbers leaving. So that's sort of why this job market feels a lot worse than 5.3%. You know, it's not a record top-line unemployment rate. We've been here before. It was actually pretty normal a few years ago. But beneath the hood, there are some things going on that, you know, sort of match up with those stories we're hearing about people really struggling to get work.
And then upping sticks and finding a job in Brisbane.
Absolutely, yeah.
So three things. RBNZ's view on all of this, what it means for the politicians in the beehive, but also house prices. You know, we heard from Cotality this morning, they're basically flat or dipping, and a large part of that is job expectations. Yeah, the insecurity in the job market. So you're just less likely to take a punt on something big in your life, like investing in another house or investing in even upgrading your property, that sort of thing, if you're worried about your job disappearing. So that's a concern. And that's a economy crusher, isn't it? Because you're
In
worried
this country, that's for sure.
In this country, you're worried about your job. Then your house isn't, no one's buying houses, so your house is worth less.
And you're not spending as much, and so the companies are not making as much money, so they're looking at their employees going, oh, have I got too many staff? Am I going to have to cut back some more? So it's a pretty negative cycle, unfortunately. It is, we expect it to be happening at the end of an economic cycle. The labour market is the last thing to move in an economic cycle. So it's not sort of surprising that it's sort of happening around now. The question is, after sort of the rough second quarter we had, whether it's going to roll on a bit longer, and as you mentioned, what that means politically, because it means you're starting to get into 2026 before you're talking recovery. That's cutting it pretty fine for a government looking at trying to get re-elected.
Absolutely. And what about the Reserve Bank? They'll obviously be watching this closely. Does 5.3 mean that they go, oh shoot, we double bang the next cut?
I think they are probably on for one cut, and they're being a bit cautious, but they will look again at a whole bunch of numbers beneath that top line as well. So a big one that we get today that they'll be interested in, and I guess everyone should be, is wage growth. So they'll be looking at what the average hourly wage has done, and some other measures of wage growth in those statistics. And it's expected that they'll be coming down. Like the average level of wage growth is coming down to around 2.1%, I think was the forecast I saw from maybe Westpac, and
which would be less than inflation.
Well, it'd be well in the range, and it would give them some comfort. So the bad news is that we're not getting the pay rises. The good news is the Reserve Bank can go relax a little bit about the core inflation, and is more able to cut interest rates a bit further, which it's looking like the economy is going to need.
Yeah, it certainly is. Hey, appreciate your time, Liam.
Cheers.
Good to see you as always. Liam Dann, the New Zealand Herald's business editor-at-large.